Hey YouTube, in this video I'm talking about the race I did on, I believe it was the 30th of April. It was my first ever national meet, regardless of this was indoors or outdoors, though the meet was outdoors, and I ran 200 meters. It was the slowest time I've ever ran, which was, well, not the slowest time I've ever ran, it's the second slowest. No, wait, actually, no, it's quite up there. It's quite up there. Because in 2021, 2 years ago, my PB for the 200 was 24:41. And this year, just when I ran that race on the 30th of April, I ran 24:4, which is obviously extremely slow considering the fact that I'm currently running low 23s and I'm in good enough condition to break 22 seconds. And in that race, I could have broken 22 seconds, which I'm going to get into. But generally as an experience, it was wonderful. You got to see a lot of people who were much better than you, see how they compete, see how they train, see how they warm up, see everything essentially. And what I really liked about being at nationals was you actually got to see all of these people train, not so much like train, but warm up for their competitions. And yeah, you can look at the way they train, see all of their rhythms and patterns and stuff. But what I really liked was looking at how they sprinted, because their technique is obviously better than mine. Otherwise, I wouldn't be looking at their technique, or at least not as many of them as I was. Mainly for coming out of the blocks, because my block starts aren't the best, nowhere near the best, but these guys, whilst their block starts aren't the best, they are much better than mine. They're able to get the shin angles properly, they're able to explode out the blocks, able to come out of the blocks faster. So seeing what they did was very important, because the nationals went on for 3 days. So it was the 29th, 30th, and the 1st. So April and then May. And the first day I was there, my block starts weren't the very best. They were much better than my previous block starts, but they weren't the very best. They were in the block. I'm actually going to show the videos. So in the first block start I did, the way I ran it was I just focused on making sure that the second my leg fully extended, I brought it straight back down so there's no lag. And this is how that looked. I was really happy with that, purely because I was actually able to not just land underneath me, which I can do anyway, but not just land underneath me, but I was able to make sure that there was no lag. Because usually when I sprint, when I'm coming out of the blocks, what would happen is I'd push out and then my legs just wait. But I'm doing nothing essentially. I've talked about this in the video before. It's a waste of time, because once you get the initial push, once you've gone over and dealt with it, you want to push straight back again so you can start to actually develop momentum over and over again. You don't want to be throwing rocks. You want to be trying to drive a car. If you try to throw rocks, then you're going to have to throw the rock, grab it, and throw it repeatedly if you was trying to run 100 meters. But if you try to drive a car down 100 meters, all you need to do is slowly press the gas pedal. If you're trying to do it efficiently, slowly press the gas pedal and you'll start to gradually get momentum more and more. And if you come off the gas, the car's still going to keep going. But if you throw a rock and you stop, once the rocks hit the floor, it's just going to stop. And the way I used to do my block starts was basically kind of more like in a stopping motion. And I was like, okay, this is great. I've made this improvement, but it's not perfect. So what can I do to make it perfect? My recovery in my feet as I'm doing this isn't the best. My recovery in my feet used to be really good a year ago, but I don't have that anymore because I've changed my technique dramatically. So my body's just naturally started to cycle a bit, not too much, but it's not even cycling, but in my eyes, compared to how I normally do block starts, it was a cycle. So I was like, okay, how can I fix that? So I slept on it. So I didn't have a competition on that day. It was tomorrow, so I slept on it. And then the next day, I just woke up I don't know what happened, but I woke up and I was actually able to completely push out the blocks effectively with both feet, because in that other block start video, I actually wasn't pushing out the blocks with both feet. So I was push up with both feet, and I was able to keep my heel recovery low in my second step. And I think my third step, it wasn't perfect, but my recovery was much lower than in the other steps. And I was actually feeling myself gaining more and more momentum as I pushed on. And I came out of the blocks at lower angles. It wasn't by too much. It wasn't very noticeable, but I did come out of the blocks at lower angles. So I actually able to push for longer than I normally would. And another thing I noticed was I was closer to the 10-meter mark once I pushed, because normally it takes me 8 steps to get to the 10-meter mark. And with this one, I was literally right on the line. Whereas before, when I was doing block starts, I'd be not much further back, but there'd be probably about, I'd say I'd be 30 centimeters or slightly less from where I was in the block starts then. And this is how that video looked. Again, I was very happy with that, but it's not perfect. This is one thing you'll notice happens a lot with me. I like to chase perfection very, very often. And I saw that that block start wasn't perfect. So I was like, okay, what can I do to make it even more perfect? And I didn't actually get to do anything to improve it, but there's a few things that are worth noting. First of all, the block start was done 10-meter mark in 2.17 seconds, and I've done 20 meters in 3.19 before. So on the assumption that I did a final, I mean, I can't be asked to go look at the video to check, but I'm pretty sure I did the first 10 meters of the other video, one of my favorite starts ever, in 2.19 seconds. This is with reaction, and I did this one in 2.17. I'm actually going to show the video. The fact that I was able to improve by 0.02 seconds means things are actually progressing and going on, so I was happy about that. But I also noticed that when I pushed out, first step was great, the second step was also, it was decent enough, but I'm supposed to be going in a straight line, but you kind of notice like I go and then I kind of dip, and that's because my leg, it goes forwards, and then on my second step my leg slightly goes off to the side. I think it might be a power issue, or I'm not even sure what exactly that is, but my leg's pushing off, so it's kind of dispersing some of my force and my momentum, so I need to fix that. And then the next thing I noticed was on my third step, my foot was quite vertical, because if the foot is vertical, then the other two steps, a lot of that force is going to get dissipated too. So I'm going to have to work on that too. My other steps, they aren't too bad, but a lot of my force is already being dissipated in those two steps, the extremely strong, powerful steps. And if I can fix that, I'm assuming that I can probably get beyond the 10-meter mark in 8 steps, which would mean I'm getting to 10 meters in 7 steps. And I've checked and I've verified, and other than Usain Bolt, basically every single Olympic sprinter can get to the 10-meter mark in 7 steps. Reason why, other than Usain Bolt and probably a few others as well, I didn't specifically check, is because they have a longer stride length, so it's easy for them. But most others, they're able to get to the 10-meter mark in about 7 steps. So if I could be able to pull that off and then keep my stride rate fast whilst my stride length stays wide, that would be very efficient. So here's that video of me sprinting the 20 meters. This is from a few months ago. Obviously, it's a shame that I didn't get to improve my block starts any further, but I just found it incredible that my block starts changed so dramatically from the very first day I showed up at BUCS, which was nationals, to the second day as well, because the block start I did in the first day was still better than the block start I had on just before. It's just that I came out of the blocks too high. So now my main focus is to try and come out of the blocks at a low angle, which I can kind of do, but it's making sure that I'm able to maintain that low angle that I come out of the blocks, because things like my third step, where it's quite more vertical than it should be, are interfering with the push. So I need to make sure that I'm able to fix that so I can stay and come out the blocks low. But as I was doing these block starts, I was like, I'm moving extremely fast. Like fast. I never felt this fast before. Usually I come out of the blocks and I'm like, okay, let's just go. And then I'm a top speed athlete. So once I come out of the blocks, as long as I'm near you, like not near the back of the pack in a race, let's use 100 for example, not near the back of the pack for a 100-meter race, but near the middle, then I'm probably going to win the race. Saying the pack's like close, we're all on similar levels. And if I'm near the front of the pack, then yeah, don't even think about catching me, because most likely I am going to win this race, unless there's someone in this pack who's about to run 10 seconds. I'm about to win this race. But I felt like I was flying. I felt like if you used to put me in some of the 100-meter races I've been in before, I would be at the front of the pack, well in the front of the pack. And I was thinking, next season there's a good chance I'm gonna go sub 7 seconds in January or February, maybe if I compete for 60, maybe even in December. So I was excited for that because I just felt like I was flying. But we get to the 200-meter race now. I'm not really nervous because I don't even know why, but I'm just like, there's no reason to really be nervous because it's essentially just another day. The only difference is everyone can see if they want. It's being live streamed. So that's the only really thing. But if you're gonna get scared by live stream, then continuing in sprinting isn't for you, purely because if you're actually starting to get good, a lot of your races will be minimum live streams and maximum they're going to be on television, live television internationally. So if you really want to get good, you need to just pretend like that doesn't happen. But I was calm, I was relaxed, I wasn't speaking, I was just focusing mainly on, okay, just make sure to start, you come out strong, start, you come out strong, start, you come out strong. And in this race I did another experiment, probably the worst possible time I could have ever thought to do an experiment, purely because it's nationals. This is where the best of the best compete. And whilst I didn't have times close to these guys, because some of these, I'm running low 23 seconds, about to break 22. A lot of these guys are running 21s, and a few of them, very few, are running 20 seconds. It was high 20 seconds, I think, but still running 20 seconds. I'm nowhere near these lot, but I can still compete. So I was thinking, okay, so let me just do my best. But I also wanted to try an experiment I had. And this experiment that I had was to, normally when I run a 200, I've said it before, I push out for the first 50 meters, then I float for the next 50. And then when I come around the bend, I slingshot off. And then for that final, whatever's left for that 100, I use up all of my energy. I stop floating and I just push. So this is why my final 100 is so much stronger than everyone else's, because when you come around the bend, it uses up so much energy to the point where as long as you don't use up really any of your energy, you just float along the bend. As long as everyone's beside you, you're just going to pull away, because most likely everyone else isn't going to do what you did. They're just going to try and charge down, which is stupid. But I never ran a race that was stupid. So I wanted to see whether it was possible for me to run at a faster time by being stupid, by sprinting all out the entirety of the 200 meters. So I attempted that, and it didn't go very well. Reason being is, there's two possible reasons. First of all, there's a few actually, not just two. First of all, my body it's never done that before, so it's not used to how that feels. Second of all, I was going so fast, my body just didn't even render it in. Because you have to remember that part of the reason why I was moving really, really fast is because of my block start. I cleaned it up so much in 2 days, or less than 2 days to be honest, to the point where it's kind of crazy. Because if I'm able to actually think I can come out in a field of low 11 second sprinters and be near the front or at the front, then that's crazy, considering my first 50 meters of 100 is poor. My final 50 meters is where I shine. So if I'm already shining at the start, if I can also shine at the end, it'd be a bit crazy. Because the cleaner your block starts and drive phases, the less energy you're going to be using, less energy you're going to be wasting, the slower you can decelerate, the longer you can hold your speed for, the higher of top speed you can get. Not by much, but it's still possible. So I ran around that first 100 in about 10:86, which is flying. Obviously this is an unofficial split. I've got anywhere for that 100 meter from 10:76 to 11:17. So yeah, but I was really flying. I'm quite sure it was sub 11 seconds though. I was really disappearing. I just flew away. And partially because of the fact that my body's never gone this fast before, and also because it wasn't a 100 meter race, this was a 200, and that bend took out so much energy. When I came off the bend, I just decelerated drastically. My final 100 is usually my best part. My final 100 was my worst. If you was to look at the splits, you see that the final 100 was done in about 13 seconds, and it felt like a 400 meter. It felt the final 100 felt not 100, about 80 meters. It felt like the final 50 meters in the 400 meter, which should just go to show how much energy I burnt, because I was like, my stride rate and my stride frequency was extremely fast, like fast. Normally I don't catch up to the person on my inside as quickly as I did, but the camera, the second it panned onto me, you just see me just fly by, and I'm right shoulder to shoulder with him. When that happened, I should have floated. I don't know why I didn't. I should have floated, but I mean, obviously I know why I didn't, because I wanted to try this experiment, because I was like, if it works, it's great. But the way I was moving, if I was able to maintain it, I would have been able to get a 21-second time, which is why I knew that if I just ran the race how I normally did, I could have run 22 seconds. I'm thinking about 22.5, though we'll have to do a 200 meter properly to verify whether this is true or not. I might not even break 23 seconds again. Sometimes these things happen, but when that happened, I knew already, yeah, I've went out too hard. I've used up all my energy, and I'm never running a 200 like this ever again. Ever again. That's easily my worst performance in the season, and I highly doubt that later on in the season we're gonna get any times as bad as that. We might have races that feel even worse than that, but there's no way I'm ever gonna have a 24-second time on my power 10 ever again. I'm gonna make sure that this never happens. I've already learned from it. Like I said before, it was an experiment, and scientists, when they experiment, they expect to fail. You don't win every single time you do an experiment. I've just been lucky so far, but this experiment, it didn't go very well. But I learned to run the 200 the way I've always run the 200, because it works. Still though, I need to work on speed endurance, so if I wanted to, I could try and run a 200 meter like that, but preferably there's no need to put myself through the pain. 200 doesn't have to hurt, a 400 doesn't have to hurt, and if a 200 hurts, then you're probably running the race wrong. Because I felt lactate, which I've never felt in a 200, the way I felt that, because I could not lift my knees any higher. But yeah, I've learned from that, and it won't happen again. So next time I have a race, it might be another 2 weeks from now. Crazily enough, I might actually do another race 2 weeks from now, or it might be late June or July. We'll see. But I'm definitely gonna have another 100 and 200 meter race to make sure I can see where I am by the end of the season.
So a couple of athletes have run sub 22 seconds in this. Matthew Harris of Durham is the other one. Decent start then for Black in the red of Birmingham. You can see going well is Akande, the Canadian, on the outside. Harris just about in second place, but this is a good battle, and Harris takes it from Black.
If you like my video, like the video, let me know in the comments section below. Check the description, because anything I forget to say in the video, I always put in the description. And if you like my content, subscribe, helps the channel out a lot. I post every 2 days at 1 PM Greenwich Mean Time. If you don't know when that is, just hit the bell, and then you'll be notified instantly.